What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel and thank you for tuning into a new video. I hope you're all well, and if you're not familiar with me or my channel, in 52 days I'll be having my first MMA fight on the 5th of December, and I'm currently doing regular videos along the way to let you guys know how training's going and how camp is going in the build up to the fight. If you guys do want to watch the fight in person, you can do. I've dropped the tickets down below if you guys want to come down and support me. It would be very much appreciated if you could come down and support me. The standing tickets are available, and there's also some VIP tickets available if you wanted to sit down on the table and watch the match. So what I wanted to talk about today was an announcement that was made from Dana White, the CEO of the UFC, that UFC 323 will be taking place on December the 6th, and in the main event it is Merab Dvalishvili, and he's going to be taking on Peter Yan in a rematch. And in the co-main event it is Alexandre Pantoja, and he is going up against 24-year-old Joshua Van for the flyweight championship. So I just want to talk a little bit about the event that will be taking place in December. Obviously we've got a couple months until that yet. Firstly, I've got to say hats off to Merab. The guy's a monster. He's going to be competing for the 4th time in a year. So he beat Umar Nurmagomedov in January. He beat Sugar Sean O'Malley, and he also beat Corey Sandhagen just last week. And he's ready for the quick turnaround in December against Peter Yan, who just beat Marcus McGee in his last fight. Peter Yan is a very high level UFC fighter. He's especially known for his judo throws and his judo trips, and he did get the loss against Sugar Sean O'Malley. However, that was a controversial one because a lot of people thought it was a draw or Peter Yan took the win in that, but there was some bias towards Sugar Sean because he was the unicorn for Dana White, but that all fell apart when he met Merab Dvalishvili. In this fight, I do think Merab will come out on top again. I think his cardio is just next level. Peter Yan couldn't deal with it last time they fought, and I don't think he'll be able to deal with it again. And Merab has fought the higher level fighters this year. He's dispatched Sugar Sean O'Malley. He's dominated Umar Nurmagomedov. The first 2 or 3 rounds in the Umar fight were close. However, we saw the levels in the IQ between the two fighters in round 4 and 5. Also, Corey Sandhagen, who is known to be a really high level striker in the UFC's division. However, Merab almost knocked him out in round 2, and if it wasn't for Corey's chin, he would have finished him in round 2. However, Corey showed heart to finish the fight, but he got 49-46 in every round. So, you know, there wasn't really a chance that he was going to win that match. And Merab's just a monster. I do think he's the best, personally, that I've seen all year. The best fighter that I've seen all year. We saw Makhachev take on Moicano in January. It should have been against Arman, but we haven't really seen much of Makhachev. We've seen Khamzat Chimaev fight once and he dominated DDP. However, just the activity of Merab is really admirable. It reminds me of Alex Pereira last year when he went on that crazy run, and now obviously he's got the belt back. The co-main event is also really interesting because we see pound for pound number 5 or number 4 Alexandre Pantoja. He is going up against 24-year-old Josh Van, and Josh Van has just come off a really great victory against Brandon Royval. If you haven't seen that fight, I definitely recommend you watch that fight. It was just striking. There was no takedowns shot, and it was just a striking masterclass from Josh Van. His head work, his foot movement, and his IQ on when to slip the punch, when to counter the punch, and then when to throw back one of his own. It was really high level striking that was displayed from Josh Van. However, the last time we saw Alexandre Pantoja, he submitted Kai Kara France and he defended his belt again. And I do think that Alexandre Pantoja will get the victory against Josh Van. Alexandre Pantoja is a high level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. He trains at American top team with high-level competition, and he's been in and around the game for quite a while now, and he does have multiple title defenses. So his experience and his fight IQ, and also his groundwork compared to Josh Van, is really high level. Josh Van has only been training MMA for 5 or 6 years, and I think when we see him against a high-level champion like Alexandre Pantoja, we'll really see the difference in skill and caliber between the two fighters. So I do like Josh Van. I think he's got a really good future, and he's only 23, 24 years old. I just don't think his BJJ is at a level that Alexandre Pantoja's is, and a high-level grappler will always be a high-level striker. I think Merab will beat Peter Yan. That will be a really good fight to watch though, and I do think Pantoja will beat Josh Van also. Also on that card, Henry Cejudo is fighting again. We know that guy's been retired a few times, but Henry Cejudo, the Olympic gold champion and double champ in the UFC, he is a good level fighter. Definitely in just freestyle wrestling or folk style wrestling, he is one of the best ever. However, when he mixes it in with his striking, he's not the best at all. And I do think Peyton Tablet will come out victorious in that one, just because of the age and the mileage on Henry Cejudo and the weight cuts that he's had to deal with during the wrestling and the UFC. I feel like Dana's put on a great card for us in December, and I do think Merab will end the year with the belt. I can't see any way that Peter Yan stops him. Peter Yan does have good striking, however, we just saw a high level display from Merab in striking and grappling and all the aspects to MMA in his last fight against Sandhagen, and I think his activity is keeping him sharp, and he's not developing any ring rust, which a lot of these fighters would be. You know, you look at someone like Khabib, who was a next level fighter, but he weren't fighting as often as Merab is fighting. We saw Khabib maybe once a year, and now we're going to see Merab 4 times this year. Also in a couple weeks is the UFC 321, which is Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane and Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Bautista. So that is a really good card to look forward to. And this weekend on Saturday is Reiner Derrida versus Brendan Allen, which is a fight night in Vancouver. And in this one, I would have to say Reiner Derrida comes out on top. And just because of the judo experience, the guy's a black belt in judo and he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And when you combine them two, it can be a real issue for anyone in the UFC, because judo, even Khabib said judo is better than wrestling. I do think wrestling has good fundamentals compared to judo. However, judo, if you become a black belt in judo, it takes a long time. You can't do it quickly. It takes around 10 years to become a black belt in judo, depending on your IQ and your experience. And Reiner Derrida will show this against Brendan Allen, and I think he'll come out with a comfortable victory on Saturday. So that's what I wanted to touch on today. We're currently on the way back to work. You guys know how it is. And make sure you guys subscribe down below, and also drop a like if you did enjoy the video. Comment any video ideas you do want to see, and make sure you check the description and you'll be able to see the ticket link to my fight in December, and that will be taking place one day before Merab will be fighting, so that weekend will be great for the MMA fans. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.